All right, guys, we are to the last section, which is the last paragraph, and then writing our headline. It's time to sum it all up with a few interesting facts. These are not the most important facts, but they provide the reader with just a little bit more information. So we're going to look at some examples, and then we'll also look at the headlines that go with these three articles that we've been looking at as examples all along. So the first article is, again, the Thanksgiving meal one. And the last paragraph says, Anna Ossel, another volunteer since the first year, was also hard at it Wednesday, cutting up bread for the stuffing, even with her hands affected by arthritis. Okay, so this is the last paragraph. It's talking about Anna, who is another volunteer since the very first year. She's hard at work Wednesday, cutting up bread for the stuffing, and even has some arthritis in her hands. So we have some interesting facts here. The first interesting fact is that Anna Ossel is another volunteer since the first year. So there's a couple ladies here who have been doing this all 17 years. That's sort of another interesting fact. The other interesting fact is that she has been cutting up bread with hands affected by arthritis. Not necessarily very real important fact, but it is interesting to note that she feels strongly enough about this that even though she has arthritis, she's going to tough through it and do this, because you can tell that really means something to her to do this for the community. Okay, so those are just a couple little interesting facts that round up the article. Let's look at the headline for this article. We need to remember that it should be catchy and only a few words, and only as few words as absolutely needed. The shorter the better, but not too short. Okay, so let's look at this headline. OC, which most likely means Oil City, because that's the paper. It is the Oil City Derrick. So OC, Oil City Lutheran Church workers prep for delivery of 300 meals. As you can see, there's several words in this, but it is right to the point, and they said it in as few words as absolutely possible, even using the word prep in there instead of prepare. All right, so that is the headline for that article. All right, let's move on to the next example. The next example is the one about the wildfires and Gavin Denny. Let's take a look at his. His is sort of a two-paragraph last paragraph. It's like last paragraphs. It says, money donations may be made through bridge builders in Oil City. Denny said that organization will find sister organizations in California to distribute the funds. Okay, so that first interesting fact is that monetary donations may be made through the bridge builders in Oil City. This is an extra piece of information to help the reader if they want to also jump in and support this collection and this cause. All right, let's look at the second last paragraph there. The donations will be shipped on December 12th to guarantee delivery in time for Christmas. Denny said Commodore Homes in Clarion has offered to ship the collected items. Here we have, in this very last paragraph, we have two pieces of information. Two little interesting facts. The donations will be shipped on December 12th to guarantee delivery in time for Christmas, and also that Commodore Homes in Clarion has offered to ship the collected items. It's nice that Denny made note that Commodore Homes was doing that, because that's a very nice thing for that business to do. So it was very good for the newspaper to add that in. So in these two last paragraphs, they have three interesting little tidbits to add to it to sum it up and to help the reader if they want to join in the cause. So let's look at the headline on this one. The main headline is definitely very short and catchy. Birthday wish. The sub-headline reads, Clarion boy comes up with idea to take up collection. Also not real long, but gives us a little bit more information about what this birthday wish was. Okay? And if you feel it necessary to do one big, very short headline and a sub-headline that gives a little bit more explanation, then that's fine. Let's look at that together and we can decide whether that's necessary or how we want to do that. All right, let's look at one last example of a last paragraph. And this one will be Archie the dog article and that last paragraph. And again, even as short as this little article is about Archie the dog, there's actually sort of two last paragraphs. That's because the information needed to be split into two different ideas. So let's look at the first paragraph there, the first of the last paragraphs. The ballet is holding auditions for the next Nutcracker dog. Auditions will take place at the Festival Ballet Providence Studio on Hope Street in Providence on December. There's a lot of information there for the reader if in the event they want to take their dog to audition. So the interesting fact is that the ballet is holding auditions. Tells us at the Festival Ballet Providence Studio on December 2nd. It even gives us the address, Hope Street. Okay? Now the very last paragraph reads, the ballet says it's looking for a pup with an elegant prance, regal coat of fur, and charming smile. So this gives the reader the piece of information, not super important, but it is a piece of information of what kind of pup they're looking for. Looking for a pup with an elegant prance, regal coat of fur, and a charming smile. Quite honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen a dog smile, but I guess they're looking for a dog that can. But very good article there. Cute little article about the dog, and it sums it up with a few pieces of information there. Not super important, but something the reader might want to know. And let's look at the headline. This headline is not real long. 19-year-old Yorkshire Terrier retires from the Nutcracker. So right to the point. If you like the Nutcracker, if you like dogs, then you definitely are interested in this article. So that is your assignment number 6. Okay? Think up, or better yet, research 2 interesting facts to conclude your article. You might need to look back at this scene in your movie and come up with a couple little interesting facts that may or may not be, they're not going to be as super important as the rest of your article, but just a little tidbit of information. I would like you to write your last paragraph or 2. If it has, if your interesting facts don't relate real closely, you might need to separate it into 2 paragraphs. But again, these paragraphs are only 1 to 2 sentences. And then at the very bottom of the page, I want you to come up with your headline. Now that you have pretty much your entire article written, I'd like you to come up with your headline. If you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me a message.